Morning Year 7, it's Mr. Lightfoot. Bit of a new thing. I'm going to try and talk through some lessons with you. I'm going to try and explain to you what's going to happen from next week, I believe. If you look at the screen now, you can see that from next week we're going to sort of have two lessons, one on a Monday and one on a Wednesday with some sort of feedback session. Not sure how that's going to work yet on a Friday. We're going to try and follow the scheme of work as best we can, which may or may not be a good thing. So we've been doing fractions, so I thought I'd talk through how we add and subtract mixed numbers or improper fractions. Now obviously I can't sit here for an hour and wait for you to do the questions, so what I'm going to do is obviously show you the questions and the examples, and I want you to pause the video and try them yourself before I go through the answers, which would be beneficial to you. I'll obviously go through all the answers, and on the Friday session, if you do have any issues, just email me and I'll try and cover them the week after if I can. Okay, so lots of you would have done this already. I know that set 1 have already done this, added and subtracted fractions. You should be okay at adding and subtracting fractions. These are proper fractions, and a few random questions. So I want you to pause the video and have a go at the questions, and I'll do the answers in a second. Okay, those are the answers. You should have got 10 over 10 or 1 for the first question. Just to remind you all that when we add and subtract fractions, we have to get the denominators to the same number. So obviously I can get this 5 to a 10 by doubling or multiplying by 2 this fraction. So 3/5 becomes 6 over 10. Once they're the same, I can just add them, add the numerators. 6 plus 4 is 10, which gives me 10 over 10 or 1. Exactly the same with subtract. I need to get these bottom two numbers, these denominators, to the same number. I can do that by multiplying them together to find the lowest common denominator. So 5 times 3 is 15. So I can get both denominators to 15. Get 5 to 15 and multiply by 3. Do the same to the numerator. 4 times 3 is 12. To get 3 to 15, I times by 5. Do the same to the numerator. I get 10, and then I could just subtract them. That gives me 2 over 15. These are just general questions. Prime factor of 25 is 5 and 5, because 5 times 5 is 25. Any prime numbers between 10 and 20, hopefully I've got these right. 11, 13, 17 and 19, and just adding those gives you that. Happy days. Moving on. So we've got to be able to add and subtract mixed numbers or improper fractions. Pretty straightforward, not any more difficult than what you've already done. We may obviously have to simplify a fraction. We should all know how to simplify a fraction. We need to find a number that divides into both the numerator and denominator. So I need a number that divides into 5 and 15, 3 and 6, 42 and 8, and I keep simplifying until I can't find a number that goes into the top and bottom number. Okay, so pause the video, have a go at them, give you the answers in a second. Boom, there we go. That's what I got. It's better to simplify a fraction because the numbers become smaller. The smaller the numbers, the easier the fraction is to deal with. Okay, so hopefully I've got them right. Let me know if I haven't on Friday or via email, but they look good to me. Okay, so I've simplified all those fractions. Remember, we find a number that divides into top and bottom, and it's got to be the same number. Moving on. For those of you in set 1, you'll know about this. I always do a big target question. That is going to be something that we're going to try and answer at the end. It looks a bit of a nightmare, but it isn't, because I'm just simply adding and subtracting fractions. Okay, so hopefully by the end you'll be able to answer that. Obviously I'll go through the answers, but let's go. Okay, we have to be able to change between mixed numbers and improper fraction. A mixed number is a whole number with a fraction. An improper fraction is a fraction where the numerator is larger than the denominator. Okay, so we have to essentially swap between these two. Okay, now if we deal with the top two first, I'm going to try and write using a mouse, so forgive me. Simplest way to change this without drawing diagrams or without getting complicated or drawing bar models is to multiply those two numbers together and add the top number. Okay, so we multiply these two numbers together. 3 multiplied by 2 is 6. We add the top number, so 7. So this fraction becomes 7 over 2. So I've changed a mixed number to an improper fraction. Exactly the same with this one. I multiply these two numbers together and add the numerator. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 3 is 23 over 5. Easy stuff. Nothing difficult, nothing strenuous. Now, we have to be able to do this in order to be able to add and subtract fractions. It's a lot easier to deal with fractions in this form than it is in this form. Okay? Now, when we have added and subtracted a fraction, we may get an improper fraction as an answer. And it's always good to leave your answers as a mixed number. Okay, so my job now is to change this improper fraction to a mixed number. Okay, and it's very, very straightforward. I'll try and write again if I can. This says 15 divided by 4, or how many 4s go into 15. If we did that as a very simple sum, oh, look at the writing. 4 is into 15 equals 3, with a remainder 3. Okay, if I do this one as well without getting the answer, 2 into 5, or 5 divided by 2 is 2 remainder 1. Very easy numbers. Okay, so when we look at the answers, 4 into 15 equals 3, remainder 3. Keep the denominator the same. 5 over 2 is 2, remainder 1. 2, remainder 1. Now obviously I could draw diagrams and I could do bar models and pizzas, and I can draw pizzas, etc. But let's keep it simple. 4 is into 15 equals 3, remainder 3. Denominator stays. 2 into 5 equals 2, remainder 1. Denominator stays. Okay, so we're going to employ this on every single question. Once we've gotten to this stage, we add and subtract as normal. Okay, so 2 questions here. If you want to have a go at them yourself, pause the video, have a go at them, see if you can get an answer, and then I'll go through them in a second. Well done. Okay, I'm going to try and explain these as best as I can. That is the question. Okay, so 2.5 plus 5, 6. You'll see I've got a mixed number and I've got just a normal proper fraction. So the only thing I've got to do really is change this mixed number to an improper fraction. I just want to get rid of this whole number here and change it to a fraction. Okay, so remember how we do that. 2 multiplied by 2, add 1 is 5. Okay, so this 2.5 becomes 5 over 2. and that stays the same because that's just a normal fraction. Okay, now once I've got it to this stage here, it's just a normal question. All I've got to do is get the bottom number to the same number. Okay, in this case I've used 6. I could use any multiple of 6. I could get it to 12, I could get it to 18, but in this case I've used 6 because I know I can get 2 into 6. Okay, so if you look at what I've done, this one stays the same, but I've created an equivalent fraction here. Okay, so I've converted 5 over 2 into an equivalent fraction. How have I got 2 to 6? I've multiplied by 3, so I can draw. To get from here to here, I have to multiply by 3. Okay, 5 multiplied by 3 is 15. So this becomes an equivalent fraction. Once these numbers are the same, I can then just add or indeed subtract the fractions. Okay, so 15 add 5 gives me the 20, and we keep the denominator the same. I don't write 12 here, I don't do 6 add 6. The denominator always stays the same. Okay, now this is the correct answer, but I've been a bit smart and I've gone 2 steps further. Can you see what I've done? Good. I've simplified the fraction first. In other words, I've divided top and bottom by 2 to get 10 over 3, and then I've created a mixed number. 3's into 10 goes 3, remainder 1 over 3. So this thing here is the preferred answer. This is the correct answer. Good stuff, well done. But this is the preferred answer because that is a mixed number. I'd like the answer as a mixed number. However, this one is still correct. Okay? It's exactly the same with the subtract question. This time I have to convert both of these numbers into improper fractions. 2 multiplied by 4 plus 3 gives me 11. 7 times 1 plus 5 gives me 12, and that's over 7. Okay, and again I've got to find a number that I can get 7 and 4 into. So in other words, what number in the 4 times table and the 7 times table can I use that's the same for both numbers? Easiest way is to just do 4 times 7. 4 multiplied by 7 is 28. I've got a common denominator. Then I ask myself, what have I done to 4 to get it to 28? I've multiplied by 7. You do the same to the numerator. What have I done to 7 to get it to 28? I've multiplied by 4. I do the same to the numerator. I've created 2 equivalent fractions. They're the same fraction, but they're now equivalent. Okay, and I've reached my goal in getting them the same. Once they're the same, I can then subtract the numerators. 77 minus 48 gives me 29 over 28. This bad boy won't simplify. I've just converted it into a mixed number. 28 into 29 goes 1, remainder 1 over 28. Remember, that's the correct answer. Happy days. Everyone's a winner. However, this is the preferred answer because our question was given as mixed numbers. If we can, we'd like our answer as mixed numbers. Now obviously, if you get an answer of 23, for example, over say 40, you can't convert that to a mixed number. That would just be the answer. I only convert it to a mixed number when this is an improper fraction. Okay? Beautiful. Right. Just a quick note before we start the questions. I have sent you 2 worksheets. They'll be available to you to download. At the top of every worksheet, there's an example. Okay, so on the first worksheet, we're just converting mixed numbers to improper fractions, which is pretty easy, to be honest. But I have put an example at the top, and there are answers at the end. So please mark your work. On the second worksheet, we're doing the opposite of this. We're converting improper fractions to mixed numbers, and at the end of the sheet there are some add and subtract questions you're free to practice on. There is also, I hate to say this, just a couple of questions on Maths Watch. There's only 2 questions here. Now this one here for Wednesday, that's a bit of a tough question. Okay, that's a really tough question actually, so don't worry too much if you can't do it. If you do want any help or hints, just email me and I'll put some hints up for next week. Okay, but there are literally only 3 questions here for you to do, which is good. Beautiful. Right, I'm going to stop talking for a second. These are the questions I'd like you to have a go at. Pause the video, have a go at them. I'll accept answers in either improper or mixed number form. Okay, have a go at them, see what you get. Answers in a second. Beautiful. Well done, guys. Those are the answers that I got. I'm not 100% sure if they're correct. I think they are. Maybe you can tell me if they're not in an email, but I reckon those are the answers. I've given the answers as a mixed number or as an improper fraction. Either one of these is correct, remember. You don't have to do this step unless the question specifically asks you to. This is the correct answer. Okay? If you can do this, that's brilliant. Okay? So those are the answers. Lastly, this bad boy. This is actually a GCSE question, and I like this question because it's pretty easy and it's straightforward. Okay, so if you just take a look at the question, we're simply adding 2 7/8 to whatever the answer is to this. Okay, that's what we're doing. We're adding this number to whatever the answer is to this. And if you look at the denominators, a bit of a hint. Have a think about what you must do to that fraction in order to be able to subtract and then add. Okay? Think about the denominators. So try and do this bit first and then add it to this. Okay, again, pause the video, give it a go, see what you get, and I'll go through the answer in a second. Right, here we go. This is what I got. I'll quickly explain it. Okay, this is the question. I converted all of these numbers to improper fractions. So 2 7/8 becomes 23/8. That becomes that, and that becomes that. Okay, so I changed them all, or converted them to improper fractions. Okay, and then I thought about getting the denominators to the same number. Okay, now with me being a bit lazy, I only wanted to change one fraction, that one. Okay, because I know that I can get 4 to 8 by multiplying by 2. So that one stays the same, that one stays the same. I just double that fraction, which gives me 66/8. Once they're all the same, I can then just add and subtract them. Okay, so I did this bit first because it's the bracketsy bit. I did that bit first. I did 66 subtract 51, and that gives me 15/8. 66 subtract 51 is 15/8. And then all I've got to do is add this to the 23 over 8. Now, because these are the same, I don't have to work. Okay, I don't have to do anything special. I just need to add the numerators. Well, 23 plus 15 is 38. And that's all over 8. Now, if you got that far, that's brilliant, because that is the answer. I just went an extra step and simplified. So in other words, 38 and 8 are even numbers. I can divide by 2, which is what I did. 38 divided by 2 is 19, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. I simplified the fraction, which is a bit of a Bruty bonus. Okay, and then I converted it to a mixed number. 4s into 19 is 4, remainder 3. So this question actually equals 4 3/4. So well done if you got that. Well done. Like I say, I'll try and do one of these a week, or maybe 2 a week. I don't know. Depends on the scheme of work. Please, please, please email me if you have any issues at all. Okay? And I'll try and do an update on Friday. Look after yourselves, take care, and do some maths. Goodbye.